stay in the bath a little too long, and your fingertips slowly turn into tiny wrinkled raisins. It happens every single time, to every single person, as reliably as clockwork. Nobody is immune. Most people assume they already know exactly why this happens, and almost every one of them is wrong. The real reason is far stranger, and honestly far cleverer than almost anyone expects. For over 100 years, the textbook explanation was beautifully simple. Your skin just soaks up water. The idea was that the outer layer of skin absorbs water, swells up, and buckles into wrinkles. Sounds completely obvious, doesn't it? Skin gets wet, skin swells, and wrinkles appear. And for a full century, that is exactly what nearly every scientist and doctor firmly believed. But there was always one stubborn little clue that simply refused to fit the tidy old story. The clue was hiding in a very specific group of hospital patients whose nerves had been damaged. Doctors kept noticing something genuinely bizarre in people who had certain nerve injuries. When those patients soaked their hands in water, their fingers did not wrinkle, not even slightly. If wrinkling were just water swelling the skin, it should still happen to absolutely everyone, nerves or not. Yet the wrinkling stopped completely the very moment those nerves were cut off from the skin. That single stubborn observation completely shattered the century-old water absorption theory. It meant wrinkling is not passive at all. It is your body actively, deliberately choosing to do it. So here's what is really going on. Deep beneath the surface of your soaking fingertips, wrinkling is run by your autonomic nervous system. The same automatic pilot that quietly runs your heartbeat. It is the silent co-pilot that handles countless tasks without you ever once deciding to. When your fingertips sense they are truly soaking wet, that automatic system springs straight into action. It fires a signal down to the tiny blood vessels sitting just beneath your fingertip skin. Those little blood vessels receive one clear order: tighten up and shrink. As those vessels constrict, the soft tissue underneath your skin gets tugged inward and downward. The skin on top stays the very same size, but the base it rests on has quietly shrunk beneath it. With far less room underneath, that top skin has nowhere left to go except to fold and pucker. And so your fingertip puckers up into those familiar little ridges and valleys we all know. It is less like a sponge puffing up, and much more like a grape slowly drying into a raisin. The wrinkles are your skin collapsing gently inward, not swelling and puffing outward at all. Which brings us to the real question. Why would your body ever bother to do all this on purpose? If it costs nerves and energy to build these wrinkles, then they must be genuinely good for something. Scientists believe they finally cracked the mystery, and the answer is genuinely beautiful. Wrinkled fingertips are simply much better at gripping wet, slippery things than smooth ones are. Look closely at those wrinkles, and you will notice they form long connected channels across your skin. Those channels work in exactly the same clever way as the tread grooves on a car tire. The grooves give trapped water somewhere to rush away, so your skin can press onto the surface below. A smooth, bald tire skids helplessly on a wet road because a film of water gets trapped under it. A treaded tire instead pushes that water out through its grooves and grips the road firmly. Your wrinkled fingers pull off the exact same trick, but with wet objects instead of wet roads. The water flees down the wrinkle channels, and your grip quietly locks on tight. Researchers decided to put this whole grippy idea to a proper, careful, scientific test. They asked people to pick up wet marbles and small objects as quickly as they possibly could, sometimes with smooth, dry fingers, and other times with fully soaked and wrinkled ones. With wrinkled fingers, people grabbed the wet objects noticeably faster and more securely, every time. But with dry objects, the wrinkles gave no advantage whatsoever. The times were exactly the same. The pattern was crystal clear. Wrinkles are a specialized tool, built only for wet conditions. Now zoom way out and picture your distant ancestors living long, long ago. They lived in a world absolutely full of rivers, rain, streams, and cold morning dew. Gathering food from wet plants or grabbing a slippery, wriggling fish was simply daily survival. Feet that could grip wet rocks meant not slipping, not falling, and not breaking a leg. And hands that could firmly hold wet tools and slippery food meant getting to eat another day. A quick, on-demand grip upgrade for wet conditions was a genuine life-saving survival advantage. Notice this only ever happens on your fingers and toes, never on your arms, your belly, or your face. Those are precisely the body parts you actually use to grip the world and to walk upon it. Evolution installed the wet weather tread in exactly the spots where you truly needed the grip. Your palms and your soles are your main contact points with a wet and slippery world. It is not instant either. The wrinkles take around 5 whole minutes of soaking to fully form. That delay is a clue too. A brief little splash of water is simply ignored by the system. Only a long, sustained soak, the kind that signals genuine wet work ahead, triggers the change. And once your hands finally dry off, those wrinkles smoothly and quietly relax all the way back. But that raises a great question. If wrinkles grip better, why aren't our fingers just wrinkled all the time? There has to be some real downside, or evolution would simply have made the wrinkles permanent. One leading idea is that wrinkled skin slightly dulls your fine, delicate sense of touch. Permanently wrinkled skin might also snag, wear down, or get damaged far more easily over time. So your body keeps this clever feature switched off, ready to deploy only the moment it is truly needed. This tight nerve connection turned out to be surprisingly useful for doctors in the clinic. Because wrinkling depends entirely on healthy nerves, it can act as a wonderfully simple test. Soak a patient's hand, and if the fingers stubbornly refuse to wrinkle, the nerves may be damaged. It is a cheap, painless, and clever little clue about how well the whole nervous system is working. Here are a few more genuinely curious details about your built-in wet weather grip system. The wrinkle pattern on each finger is remarkably consistent. You get almost the very same lines every time. It shows up in babies as well, whose tiny fingers prune in the bath exactly like yours do. Some primates, like the macaque monkey, appear to wrinkle up in the wet, just as we do. It does not even strictly need standing water. Very humid, sweaty conditions can nudge it along too. Warm water tends to wrinkle your fingers noticeably faster than cold water ever does. And it is partly your own skin oils and salts slowly washing away as you soak that changes the feel. That is part of why a really long soak can leave your skin feeling strangely different afterward. A scientist named Mark Changezi first proposed the rain tread idea back in 2011, comparing our finger wrinkles to drainage networks. He noticed the wrinkle channels branch apart like river drainage systems, spreading out to move water away fast. 2 years later, a research team in Newcastle ran the wet marble experiment, and the grip really did improve. Science, of course, loves a good argument. A later study struggled to repeat the effect, and the debate flared right back up. But the nerve control is rock solid, and the wet grip idea remains the best explanation we have today. In a way, your fingertips are quietly reading the water all around them, then reshaping themselves to match it. Think of surgeons, divers, and swimmers. A dependable wet grip is not just ancient history. It still matters right now. It is a small, silent superpower you carry everywhere, waiting patiently in every fingertip for the next downpour. You might notice that wrinkled fingers also look a little pale. That is the shrinking blood vessels pulling color away from the surface. Less blood flowing near the surface means the tissue deflates even further, which deepens those wrinkles all the more. For a little while, your soaked fingertips wear a second, temporary pattern, layered right on top of your normal fingerprints. Your toes get the very same treatment too. Though tucked away inside shoes, you probably notice them far less often. We casually call it pruning, after the wrinkled prune. But now you know it is really a clever active grip upgrade. You can test the whole thing at home. Soak just one hand for 5 minutes and compare it side by side with the dry one. Then try picking up something wet and slippery with each hand and feel which one holds on with far more confidence. The same autonomic system that wrinkles your fingers also races your heart and widens your eyes when you are suddenly startled. It quietly runs in the deep background of your entire life, making thousands of tiny adjustments you never once notice. Your wet weather fingertips are just one small, rare, visible sign of that vast and silent control system at work. In that sense, a single wrinkled finger is a tiny window, letting you actually watch your hidden nervous system in action. It quietly turns a boring bath into a live demonstration of biology, physics, and evolution, all folding together on your fingertip. So let's pull this whole surprising little story neatly back together. Your wrinkly fingers are not your skin passively soaking up water like a lazy little sponge. They are an active, nerve-driven response, carefully purpose-built for you by evolution. Blood vessels shrink, the skin folds inward, and you instantly gain rain-tire tread on your fingertips. And all of it, every clever step, exists just to help you hold on tight when the world gets wet. It is a stunning little reminder that almost nothing about your body is truly random or pointless. Even the humble bath-time raisin fingers are a finely tuned ancient survival tool. It is a feature so clever that we only truly understood it within the last couple of decades. So the next time your fingers pucker up in the tub, give those little raisins a bit of respect. They are quietly switching on a grip system that took millions of years to perfect. And if this hidden little trick of your own body just surprised you, trust me, there is plenty more to discover.